Hi, everybody. Welcome to Happy Hour Live on the Brew Sports Network. We welcome you inside the studios for a Thursday edition of the program. A great one in store for you today, and some returning and new faces on the show today. Welcome back to you, James. Good to see you again, sir. How are we doing?
Doing great. Happy to be back.
Coming back from a road trip, right?
Yes, back in Milwaukee where the weather is wonderful.
Yes, so. Pouring rain outside. It's basically Seattle outside.
It's not snow, though.
Thankfully, that's the big thing. Is that
don't
want
to complain too much.
Exactly. Well, that wonderful man is James Stewart, and in between us, making her debut on Brew Sports, is Megan Landvetter. Good day to you, Megan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Baxter?
Doing well. It's exciting to have you on the program today. Can you give us? People know about James. Can you give us just a brief background about who Megan Landvetter is, so that people know what they can expect from your amazing talents?
Amazing talents.
Setting you up right off the bat.
Setting me up. Yeah. So I have worked in sports a little bit. I, of course, worked with Baxter on our college newspaper. Woohoo, good times. Woo! And then also I did the Baxter Grand Sports Show, which was like kind of the early beginnings. I did What's the Score with you a few times. I've written for several sports websites, including Fansided, and I currently do some work with ESPN Milwaukee. So
my goodness. So basically, your career is all because of me, is what I'm gathering.
Yes,
based off of that introduction.
I owe it all to
I guess I didn't realize how much of that was.
You really
just like
this
and this and this. I'm like, oh.
He built you up to bring it back home.
I guess so. My gosh. Remember me when you're famous. That's all I'm hoping for. That's all I ask. Just give me 5%.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, we've got some good stuff in store for you folks today. Of course, a reminder for you, drop any comments or questions you've got about anything we talk about on the broadcast down in the comment section below. Hit that share button as well, too, so that way folks can get an idea of what we've got going on here at Brew Sports today. This is our last show of the day here. So, of course, we are raring to go with some of the great things we've got in store for folks today. First up on the docket, the NBA, of course, is a big deal right now because the playoffs are right around the corner. The MVP race is going all over the place, Rookie of the Year. Just in general, when it gets to the tail end of the NBA season, people start to really try to figure out, okay, who are we going to vote for? Who are the 8 teams in each conference? But there's actually a player that's been making headlines that is not going to be in the playoffs for the 4th straight year because he plays for a team called the New York Knicks. It's Carmelo Anthony. He apparently is not the happiest, but at the same time, according to you, Megan, he's also very fine.
He's fine.
He's comfortable.
Yeah, he's at peace, so that's good.
What's going on with Carmelo Anthony here? I'm a little confused.
Yeah, so apparently Carmelo Anthony is going to be playing a reduced role for the remainder of the next season, which isn't really that long.
Reduced role? How do you
role.
have a reduced role in the Knicks offense? I feel like they've had a reduced role all season long.
Yeah, he's just not going to be seeing the court a lot because they're going to be giving their younger players a chance. So he, according to Anthony, I see the writing on the wall. I see what it is. I see what they're trying to do, and it's just me accepting that. And that's what puts me at peace. Just knowing and understanding how things work, I'm at peace with that, end quote.
It's almost like you're going to get fired, and you're like, I'm cool with it. Like, I'm going to probably not have a job in a couple of weeks, but, yeah, that's fine.
I mean, at this point, he probably clearly wants out. So what are you going to do?
He needs to.
What else can you do?
He's never won a championship, right?
Correct.
I'm pretty positive about that. Would he be one of those players that if he never wins a championship, that would just be a travesty? Would he be a top 5, best players to never win a championship?
I don't know about top 5, but he's definitely, an elite scorer.
True.
But he's never really had that true cast of stars around him. It's not like he was with LeBron in Miami or anything like that. But that being said, he's always kind of been kind of a ball hog, I guess you would say.
That's been my general perception of Carmelo Anthony, honestly. And there were rumors that he might go to Chicago last year. There was rumors that he was going to potentially go to, I think the Clippers was another one as well, too. But how much do you think Carmelo is hating himself right now, being like, why did I not go?
Or why didn't I stay in Denver in the first place?
That's the big thing.
But it's New York. How do you not?
At the end of the day, it's about the money, though. It's really what it boils down to.
I think it's the money, and I think that Carmelo Anthony, to me, comes off as a very egotistical player. So, you talk about, the supporting cast. Well, how much does a superstar truly want the supporting cast? Do they want it to be like, oh, New York won a championship because I'm there? Or do they want it to be like, oh, you won a championship because you kind of, but then you have great people to build you up. So it's how much credit do you want? How much do you want it to fall on you? I mean, if you don't win, that falls on you too.
Right. Well, how long have we been hearing the potential reunion tours of LeBron, D Wade, Chris Paul, and Carmelo all being let's get together and even play just one season together, And we thought maybe D. Wade was going to go and at least start the party in Cleveland, and then he chose to go to Chicago. Chris Paul, of course, is still locked up with the Clippers. Maybe Carmelo finally says, look, I'm going to go to Cleveland, or I'm going to go to one of these teams, guys, and then we can hopefully start this reunion farewell tour all at the same time.
I mean, by the time they're able to actually pull something like that off, you'll be looking at like when the Lakers tried to do it when they had, what was it, Karl Malone and
Right, yep.
Gary Payton, all those guys tried to come to one spot, but they're past their prime. It's over.
That's the thing. I mean, you're not trying to win a championship,
Right.
really. If they all did it maybe next year, I would say, okay, there's a chance.
Right.
But realistically, maybe 5-6 years down the road, if they're all still playing and healthy. D.
Right.
Wade's been obviously injury-riddled. LeBron's been a little bit back and forth with some of his injuries as well, too. And Carmelo as a whole is just kind of just pretends like he just doesn't care.
I mean,
So,
realistically, those three, Melo, Wade, and LeBron, would be able to do it, I believe, within the next 2 years. But what team is going to clear cap space for all that?
I don't think anybody
for
is.
3 aging stars. I mean, LeBron's probably still got a lot left, but
Yeah.
a broken down Wade. We haven't seen anything positive out of Carmelo aside
No,
from
we
the fact that he
haven't.
can score. There's just not enough balls to go around to put those 3 together. But we thought that when LeBron and Wade and Bosh came together.
That's true. They're like, there's no way that this team is going to be successful because someone's always going to need to get the ball, yet they still figured it out as a big 3.
And I think that's really it when you're saying what team is going to clear cap space for 3 potentially, washed up or getting to that
Right.
point, certainly. Carmelo Anthony is 32 years old. How much does he really have left in him? Dwayne Wade is obviously aging as well. So even if a team were willing to, do that, they really have to justify to their fan base, if this doesn't work and we don't get a championship, these players aren't going to be good for more than 2 years.
You're
so is that going to be justifiable to your fan base to give away your future?
Because you'd have to clear everything out.
Right, for one reunion
And is it
tour.
worth it at that point? I don't think it is.
I don't think so.
If you're there's not one franchise that I know, maybe the Lakers, to try to be relevant again, be like, look, let's just trade away all our young stars and then try to bring in these old guys just so the Lakers can be the talk of the town again for 1 year.
And not only that, I mean, so you have a thing that may or may not work, but then you really do jeopardize your future because you're going to lose, those 3-4 people all at one time, and you're starting with essentially nothing again.
Right.
So to go back to square one so that you can have a reunion, I don't know that anyone
I
would
mean,
see
you'd
it
sell
worth
a
it.
lot of tickets and a lot of jerseys
Yeah.
off the top, but
That's the thing. Is it worth it, though? It's a great cash grab in the beginning, but at the same time, I don't feel
game
like
30, it's a different
most of these
story.
guys are going to be, icing themselves and resting,
Right.
for a couple of games, and fans are going to be like, "This is crap. Like, I hate the Lakers." Like, this is one of those things that you like, you buy NBA 2K17 and you like, make all the
exactly.
the force all the trades through. You be like, "I got all the guys on my team. Like, check me out," kind
Right.
of thing. Like, it's not going to actually ever happen. So for Melo, I mean, is he going to ever win a championship before he retires? I don't necessarily know. It's all going to depend if he gets out of New York. And even if he does, is he going to be kind of like Adrian Peterson in the NFL? Is he going to hold out for a team that might actually have a chance at winning a
Right.
title? Do we see Melo somehow magically, by the grace of God, end up on the Warriors and be like, suddenly everybody hates the Warriors even more? It's like,
Right.
well, they're just taking everybody in now to win a championship. Like, maybe, but that would be a little ridiculous to me. But I don't think his legacy takes too big of a hit if he doesn't win a championship. And I could be wrong about that, but I feel like overall he's done a lot for the NBA. He's done a lot for his, for the Knicks, for the Nuggets. I mean, he made the Nuggets semi-relevant for a while
Right.
before he left, obviously. I'd like to think that he's a Hall of Famer by the end when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think that certainly putting a championship on your resume, I mean, in any sport, any athlete, if you add that to your resume, that clearly, sets you up for success. But I don't necessarily think that him not winning a championship denies him the Hall of Fame. I mean, there have been plenty of athletes who don't win rings, and they are still looked at as, all-time greats.
True.
And he's not really in the, as far as legacy goes, he's not in the running for top 10, top 5, anything like that. So his legacy is what it is. He's an elite scorer. He doesn't play very much defense. I mean, a championship will obviously help, but it's not going to propel him anywhere, and it's not going to
Exactly. Speaking of, up-and-comers that are still looking to cement their legacy, of course, the Rookie of the Year is certainly something that folks are keeping an eye on, trying to figure out, who may or may not be some of the best players when it's all said and done. James, you have at least one or two potential people that you were talking about off air that you might be voting for, but who are some of these guys that fans should be keeping an eye on for the potential Rookie of the Year candidates?
I mean, for me, it's Malcolm Brogdon or Dario Saric from Philly. And to me, it's hands down, and I might be a little bit of a homer here, but to me, it's Malcolm Brogdon. Since he's entered the starting lineup, he's been phenomenal. And you have to remember, second-round pick, kind of flying under the radar all year.
Right.
Definitely wasn't supposed to be in this role. And he's been running this team now for a month and a half, and
basically
doing it well. And, last night was basically the reason why they won. Scored the last 10 points of the game. In the clutch time, he has the ball, not Giannis, not Middleton. So that tells you just right there what they think of him.
Exactly, and that's the big thing. I mean, I find it funny too. I'm looking, just at a couple of different lists here in front of me, and Malcolm Brogdon is nowhere on any of these lists. So of course, that's why you're kind of, shrugging your shoulders a little bit, going like, "Look, guys, like, might be a bit of a homer pick," but at the same time, rookies are so hard. When you look at MVPs, it's like, okay, if you took them away from their team, would this team still be successful? For rookies, it's like, well, it's more of an individual performance. It almost doesn't even matter that much in terms of how good or bad your team does, because you're looking at some of these guys being potentially considered. You've got a guy from the Knicks, a guy from the Suns, a couple of guys from the 76ers. I do take issue with the fact that Joel Embiid in a lot of these lists is listed as the potential favorite, where he hasn't even played he played 31 games this year, and then he got hurt.
And
I feel like
that
shouldn't warrant exactly in his third year.
I mean, I think that rule in itself.
Can you explain this to me, because I guess I don't know enough about this.
Basically, if you don't play enough games, you're considered a rookie if you don't play the season. So like Blake Griffin didn't play his rookie season.
Sure.
The next season was considered a rookie.
I've never heard of that in any other sport.
So it's only sport they do it in is baseball, where it's enough games. But in basketball, if you don't play. So if you sit out your rookie season in basketball.
Like a red shirt almost, basically.
Yeah, so due to like injury or something like that.
Right.
So Embiid was injured for the first 2 years of his career, and now was playing. So now is his rookie season.
And you look at his stats, too. He's only 23 years old, averaging a little over 20 points a game, 7 rebounds, 2.5 blocks. I mean, that's good material right there. That's a great resume.
I mean, yes, if this were truly his rookie season, I would say hands down, it has to be him. But you also have to think, I mean, he's gone through, maybe he hasn't played 3 years.
Yes.
But he's practiced 3 years. He's been with coaches for 3 years. He's had elite NBA training for 3 years.
He knows his way around the facility. He's still not getting lost like a rookie.
Right.
And you bring up exactly the point I was going to say, because I could see the argument where people are saying, look, he was injured, didn't really touch the court, therefore this makes it his rookie season. But like you had said, I mean, he still has been in the system.
Yes.
So he's been coached up. He knows what he's doing. He's seen the playbook.
Yep.
He has been around that for, 3 years now, versus a true rookie who they are really diving in fresh. This is their first, feel for it.
Right.
And if they're still putting up performances that are stellar, that's different, because this is their first true NBA experience.
I mean,
You're right.
Embiid probably understood, what traveling was going to be like, what it was going to be like.
Yes.
Staying in the hotels and the back-to-backs and just
finding the
amount
NBA
of
Tinder
media
accounts and stuff like that,
that stuff too.
The little details, really.
But all that stuff plays into performance. I mean, there's a lot more. I guess I don't know firsthand, but I would at least think that Embiid was able to handle a lot more of the pressure this year because of the fact that he's been around.
Yeah, and I'd agree with you on that one. Patrick on Facebook says Malcolm Brogdon is a great choice for Rookie of the Year. He's been getting better as the year has gone on. I do agree with that. I mean, the little I've seen of the Bucks this season, the couple of times I've actually been able to tune in, Malcolm Brogdon is the guy that either A, has the ball a lot, or is just being talked about. The announcers, even if he doesn't have the ball, is still getting a lot of press in a good way. So I think certainly someone to keep an eye on, maybe that dark horse, but I feel like it's almost disrespectful to the rest of the guys that have played 60-plus games all year long
For Embiid,
Embiid to win this title, if that ultimately ends up being the case.
And it almost is like the hype. He's the number 3 pick.
Joel Embiid,
Of,
woo!
yeah,
it's
almost
you've been around
like,
for 3 years.
No.
That doesn't seem fair.
I think that a lot of people see he's like the 36th pick. There's no way.
That's the big thing. And
that
like only in the NBA is like being in the 30s
matter?
like a bad thing. It's just, I mean, baseball, they have like 17 rounds or some ridiculous thing like that. That doesn't make any sense to me.
And it almost is like when a rookie who is picked high in the draft does really well, it's almost that people kind of hype that even more, because so many picks don't work out. So when a team finally gets it right and it's like, this guy was picked high and he does well, that it's almost over-celebrated.
Well, and they also get that national attention.
Right,
The fact that Malcolm Brogdon, you look at the numbers, and if he has a 10-point game, 7 assists, that's not going to be ESPN worthy. But if you look at if he's doing that every night,
That's a whole
rookie
nother
of the year.
conversation.
I mean, that's someone who's contributing to the team on a regular basis. Whereas you have Embiid, who is a bigger, more flashy player, kind of like a guy that the body type that is not very common. Brogdon's game is a little more lull you to sleep kind of.
Yes, exactly.
Not very flashy, just kind of do his job, hit the open shot, get the ball where it needs to go.
Yep.
Whereas Embiid is the guy who's getting the big dunks, the big blocks.
The Sports Center,
plays.
Yes. Sports Center top 10 plays, and ultimately, unfortunately, that's where a lot of the society goes. Is now it's like, well, how many top 10 plays did he have this season? Well, he must be a great player. It's like, what did he actually do to help the 76ers?
Nationally, if you're not looking and doing the research, then you're just going to look what you see. You're going to see a lot more Embiid. You're going to see a lot more dunks than 8-assist game.
Exactly.
I saw a video that's been going viral by Gene Auriemma, who, of course, coaches the women's UConn team. And his big focus has been lately that parents should raise players that are team players versus superstar players. And I think that's exactly falls into what we're talking about. America loves the highlight reels. They love tuning in for SportsCenter's top, 10 plays, whatever. They like the flashy dunks because they're cool, they're exciting, they're, Twitter tidbits. But really, what often, gets teams to win is when they do play as a team and when they are kind of the more silent superstar and they do the things that matter. They make blocks. They play good defense. They're not a ball hog. They're giving it to the person who has the best shot instead. And I think, unfortunately, just the way sports have gone, that those players don't always get as much credit, which I don't think is fair, really.
Well, you also have to look at the makeup of the Bucks. I mean, Giannis is their superstar. That's who's getting all the national attention for the Bucks. Then you go Chris Middleton. Before that, it was Jabari Parker.
Yeah.
So this entire season, at best, he's been a third option.
Exactly.
Right. So, of course, he's not going to get the national love.
Well, that's kind of the thing, too, even like with other guys, like, say, Kyle Korver for the Cavaliers, which is going off, but he still is on the same team as LeBron James.
Right.
LeBron James is always going to be mentioned first in any post-game write-up, and then, Kyle Korver had 45 points.
And you're going to get a lot more open shots when everyone's worried about LeBron dunking on them.
It's very difficult to not, basically, at the same time. It's like, I'm going to see the ball. I'm going to have a free opportunity to take this deep three just because everyone's triple teaming LeBron because it's LeBron James.
Right.
All right, moving away from the NBA here and into the NFL. Megan, you found a great story here that I think is just almost laughable in the sense of that this is just I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. But Greg Hardy, for those that remember, a very successful player when he was with the Carolina Panthers. Then he got into trouble. On the field, yes. Then he got into trouble off the field, I believe with domestic violence with his girlfriend. Something to do with a lot of guns and all that fun business. Then he spent a little time with the Cowboys because Jerry Jones is the man of 18th chances, basically. And then he got cut, of course, after that. But now apparently he is playing in arena football? What is he doing?
Well, he has, so apparently he's trying to get back in the game, I guess, in any way that he can. I guess the NFL is not an option for him anymore because he has started to pursue an indoor football team. And his most recent endeavor was with the Salt Lake Screaming Eagles. For those of you who don't know, this is an indoor football team that the fans basically run.
Oh.
So they use Twitter and polls, and they ask their fans for what plays they should run, which players they should sign, like how to run their team, basically.
How does that work?
I mean, it sounds awesome.
I think it's awesome. I want to get involved in this team. Like, I want to be
also
voting.
dysfunctional, though.
That's the thing. Like,
don't
do they
know.
have longer play clocks? It's like, wait, guys, we haven't gotten enough tweets yet. Like, we should
Be
pass.
careful.
Pass the ball. No, run. Run.
Like, good play. Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't seen it. I really should tune in to see a game and see how successful this is. I think it sounds pretty cool. But my favorite part about this whole situation is that, so Greg Hardy was in talks to become a member of this team. Management was like, all right, we'll give you a chance if our fans vote for you.
Of course.
To be signed. And the fans voted no. So there is no Greg Hardy on the Screaming Eagles. So I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting that he has officially been rejected by a Twitter-based football team. Isn't that the ultimate low?
I'm pretty sure that's like the ultimate low. Like, what is going on with your career if you can't even if Twitter literally prevents you from doing anything like that? That's sad.
Yeah, if
honestly.
Twitter's calling the shots in your life, that's probably not a positive.
You're in the wrong industry if you're letting Twitter judge your life, basically.
I mean, but would you want him? I wouldn't.
No. I think it's obviously the right decision, but at the same time, is he going to get another job? I think you can ask this question of, what everybody always asks the same question of, will he get another job? I don't think he will. But at the same time, I think he will at the same time because people are desperate for either A, the media attention, or B, a player that they think, well, he's still a good player on the inside.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot has changed since, Greg Hardy and the whole Ray Rice thing. A lot of that used to fly under the radar, and guys would come back, and, of course, people would be upset. But it's today's day and age with Twitter and all that. It's everywhere. The fans run it a lot more now.
Yeah, once the Ray Rice situation and the Greg Hardy situation, they kind of hit at the same time, which was probably I don't want to say it was a good thing, but for the greater good of the NFL,
thing for society,
right? Because it kind of all came together, and suddenly fans were kind of upset, and it was, well, NFL, what are you doing? Why are you letting this behavior kind of go? And so, teams in the NFL kind of started to get a little bit more strict about that and really take it seriously. So now, a guy like Greg Hardy, it's hard for him to find a job because what team wants to be the one out of 32 that's going to give this guy a chance and have the image hit?
Well, that's what it is going to be for Colin Kaepernick. It's what it would have been for Tim Tebow, any of that stuff. It's all about the media perception of him. That's why Ray Rice, I think, ultimately never got another job as well, too, because who wants to have a woman beater on their team?
Well, and the NFL has to think about it, too, because, they've recently in the last couple of years really started pushing their product toward women, all the pink clothing and all that. So can you really tell women you want them to love your game and then hire?
And I think with social media really taking off in the last 10 years, I mean, it's still fairly recent, but PR has become exponentially more important because people are going to talk about you on social media and they're going to get their opinion a lot faster. And so teams really have to be conscious more than ever of their public image because it just goes that much quicker. Any headline they have it goes viral very quickly. So I think the image issue for Greg Hardy is impossible. I mean,
now, while you guys have been talking, I've been diving through the Screaming Eagles website and trying to find their stuff. I could be completely misreading this, but there actually was a tie on this. It was a 50-50 vote.
It was close. And then
at least according to the poll that they have here on their website, they said, vote, and they literally have 50% for each.
So they even show the results.
So like I said, I don't know if there was another poll that was then conducted because then there's another one that's posted in a later link that has a 58 yes and a 42% no. So I'm a little confused, honestly, right now. And like I said, maybe I'm just not understanding how they do things. But
maybe they did this whole thing in the hopes that the fans would do the right thing.
Maybe maybe they were still just going with the ultimate being like, yeah.
We're not going to do it. We just kind of want to show that our fans are good people.
Hopefully. I don't know. But there's apparently an app that you can download to play along. You get notifications. It's almost like if you've played the Fire Fan app or anything like that. It looks like it's almost something like that. But download the Screaming Eagles app, the most powerful app in sports history. Yeah, you call plays in real time during our games from anywhere like Madden for real life. Make your vote heard by helping to make every key team decision. Wow. Yeah. Rack up fan IQ points to become the ultimate Screaming Eagles fan. This is very interesting. Holy cow.
I feel like, don't you need to download that app now?
I need to find,
I know. It's so intriguing.
Good Lord. Of course, Mark Cuban supports this. Should have known.
It's the Shark Tank in him,
Should have known better.
Genius.
This is interesting. The app gives fans 100% control over play calling.
I mean, how is it not? Has this ever really been? No, I can't think of any situation.
I've never heard of it.
Where fans have been given that much control.
Wow.
It's incredible.
I'm looking at, I can vote now for how many play call votes will be cast in Week 7. Okay, you can vote for different, the interception of the game.
I would just vote punt every time.
Yeah, right?
Either that or when you're in Madden and you're like, oh, it's 4th down, I have no chance, but I'll go for it.
100%.
Wouldn't you vote go for it every single time? Why wouldn't you? And it's not like you really are super invested in you know what I mean?
Right.
If the Packers lose, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so depressed the next day. If the Screaming Eagles lose, I'm like, well, go get them next time, guys.
Fun.
Yeah, right. They actually had a voting for what the Raiders, if they had to change their names, should have changed their names to, and 30% of the people voted for Desperados, Las Vegas Desperados. They also had the Las Vegas Mob, Las Vegas Bones, the Las Vegas Sin. That sounds like an AFL team.
How many players are going to get suspended from that team?
The Las Vegas Raiders?
Yeah.
I think that literally I'm not going to touch any of them for fantasy football.
No.
In 3 years.
Especially not that first year.
Even if Derek Carr or whoever's on that team, I'll be like, pass. I'm going to take a pass. I'm going to just boycott the Raiders for at least a year and just to see.
Just see what happens.
Like, they are literally asking for it, aren't they? Like, you put arguably the most, one of the most controversial football teams in the NFL
Of
into
course it's
one of the
Raiders.
most controversial cities in all of the United States.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen?
Do you think it's all bad? I mean, do you think that taking a team out of California who has how many teams does NFL teams does California have? Like,
Well, LA's got
honestly,
at least 43 teams,
Right.
so
I mean, seriously. So does going into a new state, a new market, is
That's
it
true. I
all
mean, LA's got three-
horrible?
It's not all bad. No,
Cali's got 3 teams now since the Raiders left. They've got the 49ers, the Chargers, and the Rams.
Rams, yeah.
So they've got 3 teams. They had 4, obviously, with Oakland. Now they're gone in a couple of years. So that's always the hard part about it, because you look at states like California, it's like, stop hogging all the professional sports teams, but at the same time, it's like California's huge, so it's like you honestly forget that
The problem
Sacramento's.
is none of them are good either.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing that really bothers me. It's not like California's like this massive hub for sports
Right.
dominance. It's like Cleveland and Boston and all these other like random cities that are like, really? Why is LA not doing anything? That makes no sense to me. But it's always the cities though that don't have the big attractions. What do
Yeah.
you- how much trouble really can you get in Boston or in Cleveland?
I mean, yeah, you're right.
Yes, you can.
There,
or like
you
in
can always
Milwaukee.
find trouble if
Right.
you're looking for
Of
it.
course.
That's
But
true. That's a fair
That's the obvious rule. I mean, that's what Mom always said, or whatever. Like you'll find if you really want to get into
Right.
trouble, you will find it. But I mean, I'm not going to Milwaukee to get crazy and party with women naked all the time. Like that's just not what I'm going to do. I'm going to go
Right.
to LA or I'm going to go to Vegas to do something like that. Megan's like, I don't know where to go
I
from
don't.
here.
I'm just gonna give all the players advice.
Please, I like this.
So have you ever seen How I Met Your Mother?
Of course.
So I'm going to employ a lesson from How I Met Your Mother because that's where I get all my life lessons. And that is, nothing good happens after 2 a.m. So just remember that.
That's a very.
Just
I
go
feel like-
home, go to bed. It's fine. You're
James-
making like millions. Just chill.
It's true. I was going to say,
Come on.
James and I are parents, so we know that. I mean, if I'm not in bed by 9:30, I'm done
Right?
for the day,
Right.
basically. Like, I went to bed at like 10:30 last night, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is just
Honestly.
way too late.
Okay, I'm a senior in college, and 10 p.m. I'm like, guys, do we really have to do this?
Like
It's
we should probably start homework.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep. Like, no. So I don't know. Just stay out of trouble, please.
Yeah, listen to Mama Megan. She's just like, just behave, boys.
But
Behave.
it's probably not all bad. It's a good, or it will be, I'm assuming, a good market.
Right. Do you think, though, I mean, with a team like Oakland, do you think that that's going to hurt their fan base? I mean, because Oakland fans, like, aren't they, like,
Yes.
so insane?
100%
And,
hurts their fan
like,
base.
so moving from them, is that, I don't
But
know.
you're
Are they going to stick with
they're
them,
also
though?
going to pick up a brand new fan base.
Well,
fan base
and
that has
on-
never
Are
had-
they though? I don't think they're
Yeah,
going
but if you
to.
grew up in,
Well-
in Vegas, you've never had a team.
Yeah,
any
but-
kind of team.
but
and
is
now
Ve-
you have 2.
Is Vegas, though, more one of those cities where it's, like, mostly comprised of, like, touristy people and not,
Yes,
like,
100%.
true, people who, like, live there who are, I just don't see that many
Yeah.
people who are really invested in Vegas other than, like, hey, this is a fun vacation spot.
But all those people there did not have the option to go to NFL games.
True.
Now
Yeah.
they do.
That is true, but I think at that
And they'll
point,
be
though,
betting on it.
all of those, well, obviously, I'd be just appalled if they weren't. Oakland last year, though, was 31st in overall attendance at their games. 31st, so second to last.
Right.
Only the Rams were worse. So Oakland had Oakland had, I think, like 967,000 fans home and away go to all their games. The Rams had 625,000.
But they were also leaving.
They were.
So, I mean, you could probably expect even worse from
Of course,
Raiders.
of course. And then you flip it around. The Cowboys had
Right.
1.3 million people come to their games. The Cowboys averaged 92,000 people at every
Right.
game. Like,
Well, I mean, that place is...
duh.
Who doesn't... I'd go there just to watch the
I was
TV.
going to say,
it's
Dallas
Jerry
is like an experience.
Right.
It's not just football.
You just have to
It's
see
the
that
experience.
Jumbotron.
Right. That's the big thing. It's like, I just want to like experience the Jumbotron. A couple of things here on Facebook. David says, I thought I read that the final percentage for the Greg Hardy deal was 50.1 to 49.9 or something like that. He's like, maybe that's why it's showing up as 50-50 because they can't show the decibels. Decimals, not decibels. David said, you don't want to touch them because you don't know where they've been. That's, I'm assuming, talking about the Vegas players. And David also says, no good news comes out of the club. Depends on the club you go to. Just going to throw that out there. I want to ask this of you guys as well, too. We didn't talk about this before the show. Sticking with the relocation of the Raiders, Tanner Burke and his brother Trevor talked about this on Pick 6 earlier today about possible other cities that you could expand into. You've heard the Torontos, you've heard the Mexico cities, you've heard the Londons. But what about staying domestically in the United States? Some of the cities they tossed out were Salt Lake, Portland, Honolulu, Birmingham, Alabama. I was curious to get your thoughts about if you, number one, think we will ever see another expansion franchise, because they're at 32 right now. I think it's a solid number. But then you also have states that literally have nothing in terms of professional sports, like Nebraska and Iowa, that live and breathe college football.
Right.
Would an NFL franchise be sustainable there? I mean, I'm sure nobody thought Michigan was going to be sustainable for a long time, or some of the other smaller, even Wisconsin.
Go ahead.
Those, you have to wonder, though, like Nebraska, like Alabama.
Yes.
Are those just too far gone? Those are just too far towards college football that it's almost like.
That's my concern, honestly.
I would definitely say that with Alabama. I think you're too far. I mean, you're too into the Crimson Tide.
Right.
They're good every year. It's not
They're
like
basically
you're watching
a professional football team.
Yeah, you're not watching a dying team. You're not desperate for that. And also, I will say, I'm from Nebraska. So
I forgot about that.
Yeah, good times. So I will say from that experience, even though they don't have a professional team, what you'll find in states is that you do. I mean, you cling on to somebody.
Right. That's the
I mean, 'cause
thing.
the NFL, you're going to watch the NFL.
Right. So, I mean, for a lot of people in Nebraska, it's, you're either a Vikings fan or you're a Packer fan. Like, that's the two team, Chiefs fan maybe. So I think in that regard, like, I don't know that they necessarily feel the need for that because so many people are already attached to a franchise, whether or not they're from that state.
What about, though, like, when Houston was, brought about? Like, were those all, like, transplant Cowboy fans?
Or leftover Oiler fans.
Also possible.
I mean, so many. I think you're going to have a team move as opposed to adding another team.
I think
Agreed.
so. Who would be the next to move? Jacksonville always gets thrown under the bus, but they're in the process of spending.
Their team again.
They should. I think the Browns should move. Nothing good has happened in Cleveland. Revitalize them and stick them in the middle of Iowa or Nebraska or somewhere else. Or I've always heard rumors of people like, well, why doesn't one of the New York teams just move to New York and get out of New Jersey?
Right.
And stop splitting a stadium. It's really strange when you really think about it.
Is there the room in New York though?
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I think that would be the fear. I mean, there's
I think
no
that is
room.
that is the fear. I mean, Buffalo is obviously up there, but nobody ever remembers Buffalo was even in New York.
Right.
So they're basically
Or
in Canada.
Buffalo.
I think
in general.
you have.
Exactly.
I mean, and it's the NFL. It's not that anyone's going to just spur of the moment do this, but you have to be careful about anywhere you go because without your fans, you have nothing. I mean, unless there's somebody tuning into your games, buying your products, making your ticket sales work, you have nothing. So I think that I don't see the NFL adding another team. I don't think they feel the need to add another team. But anybody that moves, I would do it very carefully because you don't want to isolate your current fan base.
Exactly.
I know they play the games in London, but I mean, I think that's just
seems
a
like
logistical nightmare.
travel nightmare.
it's
Yeah.
What are you going to give the teams?
I can't imagine being the Seahawks.
Right,
Before and
you'd have to do where the team that has to go out there, gets the bye. There would have to be, and for that London team to have
So
to
how
travel.
does that work? Do the London
Right.
teams only play East Coast teams, so it's only like a 6-hour flight?
Either that or they go on the road for 8 weeks out of the year and just
That
stay on the road.
And just stay.
Like they just do 8 home and 8 away
Which
kind
would
of thing?
really be completely unfair to them.
Right.
I
I
mean,
agree.
to do 8 straight on the road and then, you get 8 at home, but it's only a 16-game season.
Right.
So if they
Exactly.
play poorly on the road, they're done.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Keith says for an expansion team, it would have to be in a city that has at least 850,000 people in population, which, yes, I agree. Green Bay doesn't have 850,000 people, though, last time I checked.
I mean,
Green Bay's
Yeah.
a
Don't they
strong
have-
exception.
Don't they have like
to every rule.
250,000 or something like that? Like Milwaukee, I think, barely has 850,000, if I'm not mistaken. And they're the largest city in Wisconsin.
But again, you're not going to see another team like Green Bay. I mean, I don't think another
No,
team
it
could
can't
go into that
happen.
small
No,
of a
yeah.
market and be successful anymore.
What is the possibility, and this is something I hear thrown around a lot, what's the possibility of a second team in Chicago? Because apparently Chicago is big enough, and I keep hearing this rivalry because you got the White Sox and the Cubs. You've got
Sure.
all this other stuff that Chicago is already a budding sports hub for. Would a second pro team of football in Chicago even be worth it?
no, I don't think they need it.
I don't think they need it. The question I was
Did they
ask-
need the White Sox? Did they need,
No, but I think the question I had in my head was, do they really want to put up with another football team knowing the state of Chicago?
True.
And then I thought, well, maybe they do because they get to kind of start over. And they.
I would almost be more excited about
don't
that if I was
know.
a Bears fan. Be like, I'm going to go support
Right,
the
that's what I'm
Chicago
saying. I'm like,
whoever's.
oh, maybe they'll jump on board because they'll be like, I'm done with the Bears. I'm done
Yes.
with this garbage. I don't know. I hope not. I
Yeah.
can barely handle one Chicago team.
Yeah, Barry corrects us. He says Green Bay is just a little over 100,000 people. That is unbelievable that they have
Yeah.
that few people and still have arguably one of the greatest franchises in all of sports history. It's not about the amount of people, I guess. I mean,
No.
that's the thing. And it's not like this isn't like a high school where you're trying to pull from the population. Like,
Right.
you know, the Miami Dolphins aren't pulling from Miami. They're pulling from the entire country.
And think, though, in terms of Green Bay, think about where you are geographically. I mean, you're in Wisconsin. Like, yes, I love it dearly, but
Yes.
there's not a whole lot of stuff going on, okay?
It's true.
In the winter, on Sunday, where are you? You're watching the Packer game.
Yeah.
You're not going to be outside. Think about Miami. That's a whole different ballgame. You're on a Sunday, and you're going to sit in and watch the Miami Dolphins when I could be at the beach.
True.
I mean, you got to think about...
Beach gets a little overrated. I'm not going to lie. As someone that's done it, it's a little overrated at
I
times.
think you have to think, again, you have to think about your audience. You have to think about your fan base. You have to think about the people that are tuning in. And for Wisconsin, it works.
I agree. I completely agree with you on that one. All right, moving out of the football world, I want to talk about the Final Four just because we are a couple of short days away from that taking place. I've only got one team left in my bracket, the lonely Gonzaga. Unfortunately, I don't have them winning. I have them losing to what would have been the Michigan Wolverines, but, you know, you can save whatever jeers and sarcasm you want to throw my
I
way
have
about
nobody.
pitching the Wolverines.
It's over for me.
It's over for you. Who are your Final Four teams?
Duke, UCLA. I don't even remember. Maybe Louisville.
I'm actually realizing that I have UNC as well, too. So Gonzaga, UNC,
Yeah.
but I had, obviously, Michigan beating UNC. But still, two of my Final Four teams are there. I had Virginia, Michigan, Gonzaga, UNC. And obviously, Gonzaga and UNC made it. Who do you have, Megan?
I have UNC. I believe, okay, I'm going to be honest Megan moment. I filled out 3 different brackets, so it's kind of hard to keep track of all that.
Of course, a lot going on.
But I believe I had Florida, and the one I'm just talking about right now, the UNC one. Florida in there. I'm so happy Florida's not in there, though. Louisville, maybe? And I don't know who I had, honestly. Who was the other? Who would I have had?
Who else was good this year?
What's the 2 seed in the one? Oh,
Kansas,
Gonzaga's
Duke.
the one. Who was the 2 seed in that one? In
2
that
seed,
side?
Arizona.
Oh, Arizona. That's who I had. That's who I had.
Oh, Arizona.
Yep.
Are you disappointed and or surprised by this Final Four? South Carolina, Gonzaga, Oregon, UNC. Could it have been better if there were other teams there as opposed to the 4 that made it there?
I wouldn't say I'm disappointed. I think the games were
The games
awesome.
were phenomenal,
I mean,
in my
you
opinion.
Agreed.
can't really ask for much more. I mean, all those games pretty much came down to the end.
Right. I think for me, anytime that you have a Final Four that has, you know, a number 1 overall seed go out in the tournament, or a lot of 2, you know, when you have those upsets, people go, oh, my bracket's destroyed. But are you really upset about that? No, you're thankful that the underdog is winning. I mean, for the most
You
part.
live for that drama.
Right.
Right.
So I wouldn't say I'm disappointed. I mean, there's 2 1 seeds left, but there's also a 7 in there. There's also
Yep.
a 3 in there. So it's not bad.
So you're saying you wouldn't have changed anything about the 4 teams that are there? It's not something that you've been sitting home at night being like, this would have been an even better Final Four if this team was there.
I mean, if Wisconsin was there, I wouldn't complain. But,
Of course.
you know, whatever.
I mean, honestly, I just want all the underdogs to win.
Of course.
'Cause-
I think it would be one of these years we're going to get all 16 seeds in the Final Four. That would be phenomenal.
That would be incredible.
Patrick says, I would love to see Oregon versus South Carolina or Oregon winning it all, but it will likely be UNC versus Gonzaga, with UNC ultimately winning it. So granted, if Oregon or South Carolina somehow pull off a national championship, it would be a great story. I don't disagree with that.
Right.
How realistic is that, though, for a Ducks or a Gamecocks national championship?
Gosh, when I look at South Carolina, I mean, to have a 7 seed win it all, not typical. But the way they've played, and I mean, the way they've dominated some teams on this road there, you know, and a lot of times in sports, you have to argue that the hot hand wins.
Right.
You know, sometimes you have a 6 seed in the NFL take the Super Bowl. And, you know, different
Packers in
situations like that.
2010.
It's not all about the seeding. It's really not all about the seeding. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if South Carolina pulled it off. If it's your year, it's
I mean,
your
yeah,
year.
they're hot. And that's like you said. That's kind of how the tournament's won. I mean, it'd be boring if the seeding worked out perfectly.
Well, of
Oh,
course.
yeah, absolutely.
And I think
Absolutely.
that the teams even know that, too. And I've made this argument before that I almost would rather not be a 1 seed.
Right.
I feel like, not that I don't want the pressure, but I feel like there's too much pressure. I think if I would get somehow between a 5 and an 8 seed, I think I would be just fine.
Because all 4 of you aren't making it.
That's the thing. It's like, 4 people walking into a room is like, guys, maybe one of us is coming out of this.
Right.
Like, that's the reality of it. Like, you're terrified. Whereas if you were literally any other seed, you know that you almost have a better chance than a 1 seed of making to the Final Four, which is kind of mind blowing. And
You
really
have a
think
better
about
chance of making it than all 4 ones
Yeah.
making it together.
Which is just such the craziest thing if you really think about
Right.
it. It's just like, how is that even remotely possible? It's like, you're the 1 seed. You must be the best team. Yet likely, I mean, here we sit. 2 of them are gone.
Right.
And it's just really one of those situations again. I mean, March Madness it's not like you're playing an NBA series. It's not,
Exactly.
like
It's
you
one
get,
game.
yeah, it's not like you get these, oh, I get a redo, I kind of get to, get better. No, you have one game to win it all, to win it and move on, survive and advance. And so if you don't have your best stuff that day, you're not going to win. And it doesn't matter if you're a 1 or a 10. I mean, it's just how it plays out.
That's why a lot of these 3-point teams make it further than they should, because they're hot that day.
Right.
Exactly. And that's why I had taken Marquette to go rather far in the tournament, and then they ultimately laid a
They
huge
were
egg.
not hot that day.
South Carolina was like, no, we're going to be Cinderella this year. You sit down, Golden Eagles.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
Sorry about that. Maybe should have, texted in that they were to shoot more 2-pointers again, or tweeted in or whatever. I'm genuinely excited to try to go and find this app once we get off the air. I want to check out how much their jerseys go for. You can buy a Screaming Eagles Toddlers T-shirt for $22. Okay, how about a grown man's shirt here? Let's see here. Falcons Up is there.
Are you saying you couldn't fit into a toddler T-shirt?
I don't think I could. They look like very retro though. Like you look at like the hats they've got. Like they've literally. Well, this is a trucker's hat, so literally though they look. Is Salt Lake super like trucker like crazy? I thought they were super like Mormon. Like I feel like they'd be more
Maybe
conservative.
they're rebelling. Maybe this is
they
their
are.
moment, okay?
Maybe they are. Where are any like men's shirts? These are all kids, women, children.
They're done with
Babies, here we go. Men's Talons T-shirt up, $19. I can get on board with that. A $19 one or a
Can
Screaming
you get
Eagles.
your name on the back?
There is a Screaming Eagles 2017 jersey T-shirt for $32. It doesn't say anything about adding an actual.
How often does their roster turn over if they have fans voting yes and no on guys?
That's what I
Like,
wonder.
do you get cut
You
after
dropped
dropping
the
a touchdown pass?
Done. We're done. Devontae Adams would go so quick.
Like, you're done. You're out.
He'd be done.
That's a good point, though, and I honestly want to bring that up, though. Like, what teams would this actually be more negative towards, like, in regards? Like, who would you actually want to vote off of a team if you could, if you had the power to do something like that? That's almost like a reality TV show. It's almost
Yeah.
like
I almost
you're
don't
not
want
getting
the
a final rose
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
fumbled the football.
Yeah, it's probably true. I mean, if you're giving fans, I mean, in a real life, like the
Right.
NFL's real life,
Obviously.
in a situation like that, yeah, because you have a lot of hothead fans who are like, Devontae Adams drops a pass and you're just like, garbage. I'm done with him. Like,
Dropping him from my fantasy
And
team.
then the next
You
week he
know,
goes off for 200,
yeah,
and you're
and
like,
then
he's the
you're
best
like,
receiver of all
you
time.
know, and
Claim,
yeah,
claim,
some
claim,
of your
claim,
rival
claim.
team picks him up, and then you're just like, oh shoot, like I should have been more level-headed. You almost need to give them
That's me.
vote
I cut
after
him right
3
away
days
in
after the
fantasy.
game. Like
Yes.
you can't do it like in the game.
Jay Cutler would have lost his job a long time ago
yeah.
if Bears fans had the opportunity. Can you imagine an NFL team actually following this, though? Like, you get a guy like whoever, like, let's just say Tom
Browns
Brady.
could try it.
Tom Brady, yeah, right. Tom Brady just has like an awful game, and like Patriots fans are like, "To hell with you, Tom Brady," and like he gets voted off the team. Like you just voted a
No,
5-time
yeah.
Super Bowl player off the team, and like the Browns
Yeah.
are like, "Ooh, claim, like, come on over, Tom."
Honestly, Cleveland should just give it a shot. I mean, what?
Why not, right?
Like they've tried. Get sure.
Do you want to be on that team though? If you're a Browns player, if you
Does
could
any
draft
Browns player want to be on the Browns?
Yes. No, I don't think so.
I don't know. So I don't think it makes a difference. Like, do they really want to be there now?
I don't think so. Is Cleveland literally the worst possible sports city in all of sports?
Aside from the Cavs. I mean,
Well, and the Indians.
no, the
that's
Indians,
the thing,
yeah,
though.
the
Like, I
Indians,
forget
yeah.
about the Indians. They were in the
No.
World
I
Series
know,
last year.
No, I don't think. I mean,
It literally is just the Browns.
I think it's literally
Yeah,
just the Browns. I used to think like Cleveland was like rough times, but I mean, when you have a basketball team that's good and an MLB team that's good,
Yeah.
I mean, what do you?
It's hard to be like, you guys suck. Like,
Right.
It's not like the entire
It's
city's
not
bad.
the city.
Right,
it's
right.
it's the Browns.
It's literally just the
You're
Browns.
you're the problem.
Yes. Admit the Browns. You are the problem.
Yes.
You have a problem. Go away. Go home.
Again.
Oh, boy. Again, yeah. please go away. A couple of last things here for you guys. By the way, you can actually put whatever name you want on the back of the shirt.
Ah,
Fun
nice.
fact.
Then I need to get one.
Screaming
James
Eagles.
is sold.
Men's premium
Do
team.
they have
Guys, we could all
tryouts,
get
or can I
matching
just
shirts.
like
I bet you
submit
could-
my bio and
probably
hope they
could
vote
just
for me?
go for it. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I
You
should
could
start.
start like a Twitter campaign.
Yeah,
You
right.
know,
Like,
Yeah,
I
get
could
yourself
start-
trending.
Do some
I've been kicking
workouts.
enough field goals for a long enough time. I feel like I could submit in a campaign to then be like, all right, guys, I want to come play for you. That sounds like just so much fun. Buy a single game tickets for 2017. SaltLakeScreamingEagles.com.
Road trip.
Only 3,800 followers, though. Expected better.
They sound relatively new. I mean, I've heard about this hype
I'm
like
sure they
pretty
probably just
recently.
came.
So
that
they.
just means every vote counts.
That's right.
That is a very good
Your
point.
voice matters.
Yes.
There you go.
These are some weird-looking fans that they've got.
The rejects.
Oh, my gosh. Face paint. This is the red, white, and
Good
blue.
for them.
This is the red, white, and blue colors, though. It's just a little...
Well, they're promoting themselves as like kind of like the America's team thing, you know, is what I've kind of got the gist of. So red, white, and blue.
True.
America, like, you know, forget you, Dallas. Screaming Eagles.
Woo! That'd be funny if people
Maybe
started...
that's what Greg thought.
Maybe he's like, I can get those America's team Cowboys. I'm going to go play for the Screaming Eagles.
That's right. Yeah, go after
Like,
them.
that literally has to be the worst thing. Like, when you, like, hear, like, sorry, guys. Sorry, Greg. Fans voted no. Like,
Yeah,
sorry, bud. Good luck.
I'm telling you.
If I was Greg Hardy, I would have told all my friends, be like, go get a fan account and vote
Vote
for
for
me.
me.
I need a job.
I need a
Please
job,
help.
guys. I want to get paid super, like, small money to try to go and play for an AFL team
Right.
because that's what my life has come to. Used to be one of the most dominant pass rushers in the league. Then I was stupid, and then the Cowboys hired me, and I still was stupid, and then now here I am in Arena. But even then, I'm not. Maybe I'll go to Canada.
Canada.
Canada will take anybody, eh? They'll apologize for Greg Hardy. Be like,
Right.
we're sorry, man. Like, he didn't mean to do it. It's okay. Come play for us here in Winnipeg. Like, sounds
Lord.
good, Greg. Thanks for that. Oh, my Lord. Well, any final thoughts from any of you wonderful people? We're almost out of time here. So anything else you want to hit in the sports world, either of you, or just something you want to just tell the world?
I think I've laid it all out.
You really have. I think you've done a great job, honestly.
Okay,
I mean,
thank
laying
you.
it all out there, just being like, look, guys,
Told you my feelings.
vote Carmelo.
You know, I guess my final thought, nothing good happens after 2 a.m. I'm sticking by that.
Words to live by.
Raiders, listen.
Raiders fans,
Listen.
just anybody. Like, if you were a millennial or anybody that
Listen.
has, a bank account and is above the age of 21 years old,
Right.
nothing good happens after 2 a.m. You heard it here first.
Yes, sir.
James, any catchphrases or final thoughts you'd like to leave with our good fans?
I got nothing.
Got nothing.
No, I mean,
No
we've-
words of
we've
advice.
said it all.
You were a father. I feel like you'd have some sort of fatherly advice to throw out for the world.
the advice is don't bet on the Raiders in the first year.
Okay. Yeah.
Leave them
Yeah.
off your fantasy team.
Yes. Or maybe for more than just a year.
Talk your friends into doing it.
Talk to your friends. Be like, guys, I
There,
heard
yes.
Derek Carr breakout season gets arrested the first day of the year for, I don't know, something dumb.
Whatever you can do in Vegas.
And virtually anything,
Anything.
honestly. Well, we appreciate all of you for tuning in for another edition of Happy Hour. Coming up tomorrow, of course, we will have Happy Hour once again at 4 p.m. Central Time, live right here on Brew Sports. A very special thanks to James and Megan for joining me on Happy Hour today. Hope you both have a great weekend. I'll see both of you next week, and we'll
Yes, sir.
do this all again, same time, same place, same bat channel, all that fun business. Don't forget to go and follow us on Twitter and on Instagram as well, too, at BrewSportsNet. You can find me at Baxter Colburn. Where can they find you, wonderful people, on the Twitter universe?
I'm at LawnVotter812, but I really have to up my Twitter game, so give me a few weeks.
Okay,
I'll
don't
work
follow
on it.
her right now.
Not yet, guys.
Give her like a month or two.
I'm at JStew Jr.
At J. Stu Jr.
Yep.
There you go. Nice and easy. We'll appreciate you guys for tuning in and for commenting. So thanks to all of you awesome people. Enjoy your Thursday. We'll be back here again tomorrow on the Brew Sports Network for the Morning Brew at 7 a.m. Central Time with myself and Jamie Evers. So make sure to tune in for that. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Be safe, be smart, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on Brew Sports. Enjoy the rest of your day.